Good morning, everyone. Donna with Simply Living Wellness, and it's Friday and it's 10 o'clock. And you know what that means if you're following me at all, that I do this weekly Facebook Live and just want to remind everyone that whether there's somebody here or not, it really doesn't matter to me. I am doing this for personal growth reasons to get out of my comfort zone, and to get out of that shyness I lived with my whole life, to get in front of a camera and start to feel comfortable with that. I've been doing this now for a while, so it's a lot easier now, but it is never very easy for me, and which is why I do it. So if I didn't commit to myself that every Friday at 10 I'm going to go live on Facebook, then I would blow it off, no doubt, more than not. So I'm here to share with you my own life experiences and about holistic health and wellness, which is my absolute favorite topic. I have a blog and podcast called Simply Living Wellness. You can go to simplylivingwellness.com. Before I get started, I also want to talk about Leaders of Love, the women's support group that I and my partner Anathea lead. If you go to Leaders of Love on Facebook and search for that, I'll include a link. You can join our free women's support group, and we also meet within that group every Wednesday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. It's a women's circle where we help each other, provide support, learn about holistic health and wellness, learn about emotional well-being. This week, Anathea is going to lead, and she's going to talk about heart-based communication, which helped me tremendously get through a very difficult time in my life with so much ease and so much grace. So come on Wednesday and join us in our women's circle. And now on to today's topic. So today I want to talk about joy and bringing joy back into your life, especially when you feel a lack of joy, but just in general. And by focusing on the simple things in life. And I'm going to talk about my name of my website and podcast, Simply Living Wellness, and how that ties in. So, but first, I want to just give much thanks and gratitude to a yoga teacher of mine, Emily, who I miss dearly because of this COVID. I miss the classes. And Emily went through severe, severe loss, and she was open enough to share her healing journey with her students during her classes, a little bit before class. And it was beautiful. And I just want to thank you for that, Emily, because while everybody's situation is different, it had so much impact on my life, and I know of other students as well. Just hearing you be so transparent and vulnerable and open about your healing from a very difficult situation. So thank you for that. And one of the things that I remember that Emily talked about was, first of all, of feeling like she could never experience joy again, and then how little bits would come back into her life, and how that process looked for her. And she has two very small children, and of course focusing on the children was a big part of that. And but then that heaviness coming in, that their dad wasn't here to experience the first step, or those little things that, those development steps that kids go through. And so then that heaviness would come in, but then a little bit of joys here and there would pop in, having just experienced that first step herself. And and not to say to push the sadness away. We need to be with that sadness, whether it's that kind of situation or any situation, any emotion. We don't want to push those away. And I've talked about this on other lives. That's part of the grieving process, is to be with the emotion. But the more you sit with that and experience that, the more it starts to subside, and then little bits of other ways of feeling start growing little bit by little bit. And that's what Emily experienced and shared with us. And one of the things I'll just never forget is how she talked about one day just focusing on this wonderful latte she had one morning, and just feeling the pleasure of drinking that latte and the gratitude for it, and how she started to experience joy through that experience. And so that's what I mean by the simple pleasures of life. And so let me talk about Simply Living Wellness and how I came up with that name. A big part of it, well, wellness to me is holistic health and wellness. So, oops, my phone's ringing. So the Simply Living, though, is kind of twofold. So one is just simply living, and that's part of these simple things in life, right? So just simply living. So simply is a pronoun there. It's describing a way of living. So to me, that just means focusing on the simple things in life that just living, for example, just living, and what does it mean to really live? And it's kind of back to that concept of slow down and smell the roses, noticing the small things in life, and finding joy in that and gratitude. And so, for example, just breathing, right? To live, we need to breathe, and that's what yoga is all about, is just focusing on that breath and feeling gratitude that we're alive and that we can breathe, and that we're here on earth, and around food. We need food to survive, right? So many of us rush through our meals, me included, because we live these such busy lives, and really just focusing on the food, because that's what we need to live. And so I talked a lot about emotional eating in one of our women's Wednesday night circles, and how I've sort of overcome, not 100%, but am working to overcome emotional eating, because I tend to be an emotional eater, especially when I'm bored, actually, and feeling kind of depressed. I tend to eat. So one of the things of simply living and focusing on the small things in life that we need to live, like eating food, would be to prepare a beautiful meal, and then instead of, serving your plate and taking bites as you walk to the table, which is something I'm terribly guilty of, because I'm always in a rush because I have so much I want to do in life. I have good reasons to be in a rush. I have so much I want to do, but at the same time, I'm missing the simply living part often. And so I've been working a lot over the last couple of years to turn that around. And so now I don't take those little bites on the way to the table. I go to the table and I set a beautiful place setting. I put a real tablecloth down, and use a cloth napkin, and I put the food in a beautiful handmade dish, and I have a sparkling like goblet or wine glass that I drink my water out of, and I use real silverware, and all those little things, and maybe set a candle, and try to make that meal a ritual every time, and really feeling gratitude for that food, and saying a little blessing to the food, so that it nourishes me, asking for it to nourish me, and also blessing the farmers who grew and harvested that food, and perhaps the animals that sacrificed, or that were sacrificed to provide that food. So when you make that just a little bit of more of a ritual, it's just so much more enjoyable and pleasurable. And from pleasure and gratitude, I believe joy stems out of that. So that's just one example of simply living, is folks slowing down to really breathing and noticing the breath. I mean, we're always breathing. It's a matter of noticing the breath consciously, and then the eating with pleasure and gratitude. We take life for granted so much, and I think that's part of what Emily shared, is that your life is a certain way, and you don't imagine it any other way. And then when something is taken from you like that, so drastically and severely, then you almost have to relearn. First of all, she talked about relearn how to have joy in life, and then this whole process of just focusing on the simple things and having gratitude in that. Just like her two beautiful children, and the fact that she can have a yummy tasting latte, and for me that I can even have this beautiful organic nourishing food that so many don't get access to. So focusing on that, we just take all that for granted when things are just going as we want and as normal. We kind of forget the uh, the fact that how beautiful it is we even have this stuff in our life. So that's simply living. Now the reverse to that of why I came up with this name is also it's like living simple. So living simple to me is also going back to the basics, going back to the simple pleasures, going back to what really matters most, and identifying that first of all. Just thinking about what does really matter most to me, right? And so part of what I've been going through recently is some decluttering in my house, and um, you know, going through my closet and realizing like I have way too many clothes and I never wear any of these, and it's just cluttering my life and my energy and my closet and my room. So I've been trying to really get down to just the simple basics of what I need. And so I encourage all of you to, every time you want to go buy something in a store or online or on Amazon, it's just such instant gratification, right? I love Amazon, but boy, it's too easy to just buy stuff. And so I encourage all of you, because this is what I'm doing, to really think about everything that you want to acquire, and do you really, really need that, and do you, can you enjoy life without it? And just think about it. Just put that conscious thought into it. That's all. Doesn't mean don't go buy it or whatever, but just put a little conscious thought into it. It's really helped me a lot. So that's what I wanted to share today, and I wanted to give thanks to Emily, and hoping that we are going to be back to normal with yoga very soon. I love, love, love her studio and the classes, and miss it dearly. Wishing all of you a beautiful Friday and a beautiful weekend. And I would love to get your thoughts on all of this. The best conversations happen after the live down in the comments area. So don't be shy and let me know what you think. And don't forget Leaders of Love. If you're a woman, you have to be female. It's virtual. We have women all over the world with us. We're now up to over 300 members. It's a beautiful community, and I'm just so grateful to be part of it. So namaste. Have a great day. Thank you for those that joined me here, and I will see you next Friday at 10 o'clock.